This is my view every day I drive to dance. Fields of corn, horses, wire fences, and even longhorns. It's a comforting but a strange sight to see fields like these wedged in between commercial buildings and busy highways. However, these farms and animals won't be here for very much longer. In mid-2017, around April, Toyota is moving its headquarters from California to a 100-acre campus in Plano, Texas. And with this move, they are bringing more than 4,000 employees to North Texas. The mass influx of people has a huge impact on the area in terms of housing, retail, restaurants, and service businesses. This is evident as the construction for Legacy West, a new premier shopping and dining destination near the Toyota site, is breaking ground. While all this is very exciting, and I can't wait to dig in at the new restaurants, I can't help but to wonder, what's going to happen to the longhorns and the corn farms? With urbanization, there comes the negative side of urban sprawl and environmental consequences. So I want to know what this year's presidential candidates are going to do in order to maintain industrialization, but take care of our environment and community at the same time. Urban sprawl, or the development into more and more rural land, is happening everywhere in the United States, where large corporations and housing units are kicking out and buying out farms. In 1975, 4 megacities, or cities with 10 million plus people, existed, and for 2015, the United Nations predicted 22. There are now 35, which shows the world is industrializing at a faster rate than expected. One example of this industrialization is in our very own backyard. Effects of this urban sprawl will include an increase in public expenditure because the building of new infrastructure needs to be paid by someone, as well as increased traffic and harmful effects to the environment. So I'm here at the University of Texas at Arlington to talk to Kelly Bergstrand, a professor in the Sociology and Environmental Department.
And really this is a phenomenon we're seeing across the world where a lot of people who traditionally lived in rural societies are moving to the cities. In fact, almost over half of the world's population are now living in cities, and it's expected to continue growing. And so we're really seeing this trend where people are migrating to cities.
I hear you, Kelly. Thanks for explaining urban sprawl a little more. Okay, so do you hate being stuck in traffic? Can't stand driving in a parking lot? Me too. Well, it's about to get a lot worse in North Texas. The North Central Texas Council of Governments estimates that traffic near the Legacy West complex is to triple in the following years. This news comes after the announcement that other large corporations like JP Morgan and Liberty Mutual Insurance are to also join Toyota in the Plano area. Add thousands of new workers to the streets, transportation is going to be less efficient if action isn't taken. I want to know what the candidates can do to accommodate for new migrations of people in up-and-coming cities, but at the same time not cause more harm to the environment. Well, I think I have an idea. The city and state governments needs to look into reworking both DART and bus routes. This will not only allow a smoother flow of traffic, but it will also enforce carpooling, which will reduce pollution from cars. Speaking of pollution, one of the main consequences of urbanization is the threat it poses to the environment. There is a direct link between the rise of cities to increased fossil fuel use of other mineral resources, and the loss of biodiversity. In the United States, the greatest source of air pollution is from transportation, as the carbon monoxide from cars and other vehicles make up 60% of all carbon monoxide pollution across the nation. With the predicted increase of traffic, pollution will also increase. This has a great impact on health as well, as research from MIT shows that air pollution is responsible for 200,000 premature deaths each year, with transportation emissions causing 53,000 premature deaths.
So pollution can exist on an unprecedented scale in cities because you have, all of the cars and the factories sort of in a concentrated area. So air pollution, is a big problem. I remember I was reading in China. The air pollution is really bad there, as I'm sure you know. Some schools now advertise they have giant domes where they pump in fresh air for the school children to play in.
I believe the presidential candidates need to discuss how they're going to control carbon monoxide emissions in growing cities especially. But besides carbon monoxide, there's also the growing threat of greenhouse gases. So let's see what Obama and other experts have to say about this.
The federal government must work with not against states to reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
So, Dr. Kirkman, then you said, since the 1950s, the climate has warmed. How much of it is natural? How much of it is due to greenhouse gases?
So our best assessments are about 70% of the warming that we've seen since the 1950s is due to fossil fuel emissions, and maybe 30% is natural. And the certainty on those kind of estimates is something like 95% to 100%.
Making The Revenant was about man's relationship to the natural world, a world that we collectively felt in 2015 as the hottest year in recorded history. Our production needed to move to the southern tip of this planet just to be able to find snow. Climate change is real. It is happening right now. It is the most urgent threat facing our entire species.
According to the Environmental Protection Agency, human activity in the past century has released large amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases from burning fossil fuels for electricity, heat, and transportation into the air. So as a result, the Earth is warming. The North Texas area will see an increase of all these greenhouse gases as new residential, commercial, and industrial facilities will be built. So, what can we do about this? The state government needs to implement conservation policies that will lower pollution and conserve our resources, like limiting sprinkler usage in communities. The president needs to continue to work with the EPA in order to spread environmental awareness around the nation, and the legislative branch needs to pass more bills that protect the environment. So, 2016 presidential candidates, what are you going to do to help protect the environment in growing cities?